What's up guys, I'm back finally after a long break from Destiny videos. I've still been playing Destiny quite a bit, and I've gotten a lot better, so I'm going to bring you more videos on Destiny weapon reviews, top 10s, top 5s, things like that. But yeah, so for my first video back, I wanted to cover a topic that is concerning a lot of people regarding the Gjallarhorn of Rise of Iron. Now, I think it's called the Iron Gjallarhorn. And so, yeah, so this gun, the Gjallarhorn, holds a special place in most Destiny players for being, like, the best weapon for PvE of all time in Destiny, and just, there's probably never going to be anything that'll beat it, other than the Iron Gjallarhorn itself. So, I just want to go through it, you know, kind of explain the history of it, and kind of give my opinion on what it's going to be, and I'm going to tell you why my opinion is. Alright, so first I'm just kind of going to give you the history of the Gjallarhorn, and I'm just going to get this out of the way for all you guys that are kind of new to Destiny or just didn't play it in the way beginning of year one. Gjallarhorn was sold the second week of Destiny by Sir, and so many people regret not buying it. They didn't know the power back then, because remember, that was the second week of Destiny. People didn't even know what Sir was. They'd probably only seen him once, but before that, and yeah, so I'm just going to get that out of the way. But, so I'm going to tell the story of the Gjallarhorn, like, kind of the patches and what it went through during year one. So, I'll just start during, let's say, December, January of 2014 and 2015. So, like, kind of the cycle. So, our new year. So, back then, the Gjallarhorn was insanely good. It was the best weapon for PvE, and people had found it, and they were using it against Crota, and they were just destroying, like, any boss they found, and it just made it so much easier. So, what obviously Bungie did after that they saw it was probably pretty much destroying everybody in the PvE, and so they nerfed it. You know, it's pretty obvious they would nerf any gun that's kind of like game breaking to that point, because if you wanted to LFG for someone in Crota raids, the exact first thing they would ask you is, do you have Gjallarhorn? If you didn't have Gjallarhorn, well, you're gonna get kicked. Unless, of course, you said you couldn't run sword, and unless you were a hunter, they'd maybe let you stay. But nonetheless, you would probably get kicked if you didn't have the Gjallarhorn. So, Bungie saw that, you know, the game breaking, and they nerfed it, obviously. And during the summer, when it was nerfed, like, right after they nerfed it, people began to use it, and they still noticed, well, it was still insanely good. It could just still melt bosses. Now, the reason I think this is the gun itself, Gjallarhorn, is still good. No matter, without the Wolfpack rounds, it's still a very decent rocket launcher. It has a good 2 magazine, as well as pretty good blast radius, pretty good velocity, a fairly decently quick reload, as well as some pretty good stability. So by itself, it's still a good gun. But then the Wolfpack rounds is what made it so good. So later in this video, I'm going to show you a clip of what, like, just the normal cluster bombs are. So when you see that, I want you to think like it's just a bunch of just explosions, but then the problem with Wolfpack rounds was that it tracked its enemies. And so imagine all those cluster bombs on one target instead of just spread around it. That was pretty much the main thing that caused it to be so good. And so because of that, people still used it. People, every time you got into a raid, was, do you have Gjallarhorn? If you didn't, well, you're going to get kicked. And another thing that even helped it even more was during the Crota raid, you weren't that close to Crota, so it was possible to miss with your rocket launchers, but not with Gjallarhorn, simply because it has tracking rounds. It would track its targets, which made it pretty much impossible to miss. And it was pretty good tracking, too. It was better than, some people say it was better than normal tracking. Not, of course, as truth, but it was still fairly good and fairly useful. And so, because of this, you couldn't nerf it. You couldn't nerf it without completely changing all of its stats. And that was one of the problems that faced Bungie, which I think is going to be one of the challenges that they're going to have during the Rise of Iron. Because they're going to have to make this a fairly good gun to use, but still make it so that it's not just game-breaking, overpowered. So, what I think they should do is, they should make it a bit less powerful than during the summer after the nerf of Gjallarhorn. They should make it a bit less. However, they can't just put an infusion on the current Gjallarhorn and then call it a day. They can't just put it at 335 and leave it at that. Now, it could be buffed a tiny bit. I think the Wolfpack round should be able to do a tiny bit more damage, but not to the point in which the first thing you do when you're trying to do War Priest, it'll probably be useful in War Priest, the first thing they're going to ask you is not, do you have Gjallarhorn? That's the first thing that they should focus on, that it's not game breaking. So one final thing I want to add is the final kind of piece they should do with Gjallarhorn is to make it, I think, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I think it should be hands down the best heavy weapon. Now, I wouldn't say this for some, let's say Dragon's Breath wasn't being upgraded. Let's say, yeah, like Dragon's Breath or Truth never got upgraded and now they're going to get upgraded. Well, I would never say that for Truth. I would say that for Gjallarhorn because of its history. Like, it was viewed as the very best weapon for PvE and the very best rocket launcher there is, and that's what it should remain to be. But again, it shouldn't be game breaking, which that is kind of the true kind of challenge for Bungie to do. And the way they should do this is like, so let's just say that we're trying to use something on War Priest. Yes, you're going to be able to use the Gjallarhorn, and it's going to do an insane DPS, obviously, and let's just say that it does more than Black Spindle. Well, then let's go to the Daughters. So let's just say that, well, the Daughters, you want to use Gjallarhorn, well, they should make it so that, no, you can use it, but you can use it, and it's going to do DPS. However, there's another gun that's just better than it to do so, such as Touch of Malice. And there, you would cause even more DPS. Rather than 6 Gjallarhorns, you would have 6 Touch of Malices, and that would do even more DPS. And so that's kind of the main thing they should focus on, is that back in year 1, the Gjallarhorn was useful in every boss, any time. And yet, when you used another gun, the Gjallarhorn just destroy that DPS, and it'd be terrible compared to the Gjallarhorn. Well, right now, let's just say some other boss. Let's just make up a boss. Let's say Black Spindle. You want to use Black Spindle on that. Well, that boss could be useful more with Black Spindle than the Gjallarhorn. That would be kind of a good kind of balancing. That yes, the Gjallarhorn is insanely good for some bosses, but for some other bosses, it just is under par to other guns, and that would kind of make it balance it out, so that the first thing people ask you is not, do you have the Gjallarhorn? So one last thing I wanted to show you is these cluster bombs that I got on the Raid Rocket Launcher Elem's Frenzy, or Harrow Elem's Frenzy. Yeah, so as you can see, I got the cluster bombs. So I want to show you, like, so I'm about to shoot it, and I think the first one, yeah, it doesn't go all the way around, but usually in PvE it's gonna just kind of spread out, and I think I'll show you another one by kind of hitting the roof. So yeah, so there, to see how it all spreads out. So if you imagine that, see the first shot. That's just on one boss, and that's explosion damage, that's impact damage, as well as all those cluster bombs. So that's just going to do insane DPS. And now, as you can see, they kind of nerfed the explosion so that they're not as big. And back in year 1, they were just much bigger, and they would just absolutely melt a boss. And so that's going to be one of the things that they should buff a tiny bit. That's why I said, you know, buff the Wolfpack rounds just a tiny bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you, like, another reason why the Gjallarhorn was so good. It was just all those explosions on one single target. And so yeah, it's been Dexstar Destiny. Hopefully you enjoyed, so please like and subscribe. And please, I want to hear your opinions about what's going to happen to the Gjallarhorn in Rise of Iron. And so yeah, see you next time.